Jagrati. There are numerous very deep stages that one goes through in their spiritual growth. The cleanest and simplest path, assuring not getting caught in any of these stages, is to attain and maintain a seat in the self. If you think that the seat in the self is the final goal, you will never get there. It has to be from the beginning. If you really want to grow and bypass all the pitfalls of spiritual evolution, that you realize once and for all that every single thing that's going on inside of you, everything, emotions, thoughts, feelings, everything, are things that you are aware of. That you know when you feel fear. That you are aware when you feel love. That you experience anger. That you feel pain or joy being sent from the body. And that your thoughts can be for or against anything. And amazing enough, when you have thoughts for or against, you are aware of these. You know that your thoughts are saying, I really like this. And you know your thoughts are saying, I don't like this. Consistent through all of these things is awareness. This may seem trite, but the truth is always trite, because it's always there. How can it not be trite? It's self-evident. The truth is self-evident. You are aware of all these things. Otherwise you wouldn't know they were going on. What yoga teaches is that the beginning and end of your entire spiritual journey is found in that awareness. Is found not in changing your body, because it's just something you're aware of. Not in changing your emotions, because they are just something you feel. And not in changing your mind. The darn thing changes itself enough without you helping at all. It is something you are aware of. All of these things are objects of consciousness. They are objects of awareness. You don't need this teaching. It's that simple. You already know it. If you didn't know it was going on, you wouldn't know it was going on. And so yoga says, who knows it's going on? And you want to say, well, I do. How do you know you love her? I do. How do you know? Because all of this love comes up inside of me. How do you know that? It's like, you don't want to talk like that. It seems stupid. Leave me alone. You're stupid. No, I'm not stupid. I want to know how you know. Because I feel it. Who feels it? The you who feels it is different than it. You are the consciousness. You are the awareness. You are the self, the innermost self, the essence, the being, who is the experiencer of love and hate, of joy and pain and sorrow, of happiness and of troublesome times. There is only one of you in there. Many, many different objects, many, many different thoughts, and lots of different feelings and energies and things. But only one being who is aware that these things are going on. Once you catch on to that, and if you can actually hear the great teachings of yoga, what is being said to you is, that's enough. That is the beginning and end of all knowledge. What is? That you are in there. And that you who experience love is the same you who experiences hate. Of course it is. How would you know? There's only one knower in there, all right? But I like to feel love and I don't like to feel hate. That's your problem. The truth of the matter is that you experience love and you experience hate. And you see where they come from, and you know what it's like to have love and what it's like to have hatred. And the question is not why or what to do. The question is always, well then who am I? Who am I that transcends love and hate? What does that mean, transcends? That's a big word. No, it's not. The one who sits above. The one who sees these things go on below it is transcendent to these things. This is consciousness. And because this thing is transcendent to all of your thoughts, all of them, it watches every single thought go through. You say, no, I don't. Yes, you do. Otherwise you wouldn't know they were there. Your thoughts talk to you, don't they? Like there's a little voice inside your head. I'm not talking about some voice of the angels or consciousness of the devil. The voice of your mind. It talks to you all the time. It says, I don't want to go over there. That's scary over there. There could be a snake over there. Who's that talking? That's me. No, it's not you. You're the one who's listening. You're listening. It's talking to you. How do you know? Because when it's gone, something else will be talking to you and you'll still be there. There's only one of you. There's all sorts of thoughts. But there is only one sentient, centered consciousness that is aware, and you know that you who was aware of, I don't want to go where there's a snake, to, oh wow, look at that, that's neat looking. It just changes, doesn't it? How do you know it changed? If you were not the same being, you would not have that continuity of consciousness to know that it changed. In deep meditation, can your mind stop? How do you know? Because you were there when it was talking, and you're there when it's silent. It's pretty nice when it's silent, isn't it? How do you know? Because you're there. And then when it starts talking back again, are you aware that you went from peace to neurosis? Of course you are. Because it's the same you. So this is it. That continuity of consciousness, that one seat of awareness is always there. And spirituality under all cases means going there and staying there. Where? Where you are. From where you look, you must stay. So now your path begins. You at least see where your center is. It is within you, deep within you. And all of these other things inside of you, emotions and thoughts, and things outside of you, your body and all the objects of form, have absolutely nothing to do with you. They're just things that you are aware of. And believe it or not, it is that simple. If you can remain in the center of awareness, despite anything that passes before the eye of your consciousness, you will attain to a great state. You will transcend your mind. You will transcend your emotions. And you will transcend your body and this world. And you will explore the deeper secrets of life, which are not found in form. It's all pretty much just atoms being rearranged. And it sure as heck ain't found in emotions. They come and go like smoke. And it is certainly not found in thoughts. But in the self, in the center of consciousness, are all the secrets. As you hang out more with the self, your path becomes deeper and deeper. So your first stage is to be aware that you are in there, but there are these other forces and energies in there with you. And once you see this, you will start to see that they run your life. And this is very deep and very important. They run your life. You have a particular set of thoughts and feelings that's you, but it's not you. You're the one who feels them. You could change them, and you'd still be there. You'd be aware. If one day all of a sudden somebody plucked out all your fear, and you started meeting people and you didn't feel afraid anymore, you'd start feeling really weird. You said, what's going on? How do you know? How do you know that yesterday you would have felt fear in that situation? Because you're there. And your consciousness remains the same, even though your emotions or your mind change. So basically you start to see that these thoughts and these emotions are running your life. and you start to notice the deeper aspects of your inner state, you see that thoughts, emotions, and feelings from body, sensory receptions from body, are so strong that they draw your awareness out of yourself to the object of consciousness. So thoughts capture your awareness. You find yourself getting lost in thoughts. During that time, you don't know that you know that you know. Time passes. Whole periods of time pass in which you're not there. You're lost in the object, or these emotions are coming up from the heart, and you get lost in them. And then your thoughts start to talk about the emotions, doesn't it? And now you have both emotions and thoughts going at the same time, feeling and talking about the same thing. Where are you? Lost. Lost in there. You can go a whole day that way. You could wake up in the morning and start to feel some fear, some jealousy, some insecurity, or some pain, and now your consciousness gets drawn to those, and I'm telling you, if you dare to watch, you will see that your thought patterns match your feelings. They always think about what you're feeling. Isn't that amazing? Because thoughts and feelings are two totally different things. But now the feelings start coming, like you feel some jealousy, you feel some fear, you feel some insecurity, you feel something. You feel not so happy, I'm not so happy with my life, you're feeling left out, you're feeling lonely, something. What does the mind do? Talk about the football game? No. The mind all day, all it talks about is, I don't know, this is not working, I gotta change something. This is crazy. I once had somebody give me a rap, it was so beautiful. And he sat there and told me about how he had decided to go back to college. He was an older gentleman. And he started to say why he wanted to go back to college. If he goes back to college, there are a lot of women in college. And there are a lot of women that are intelligent. And since he thinks of himself as an intelligent person, and he is very much in need of a relationship, and now he's going to figure out what college he wants to go to based on what kind of women would go to that college. And he is picking his major based on the probability of the statistical study of meeting the type of person that he feels would be attracted and he attracted to and would make a good mate by going back to college. All right? And then you realize that's what people are doing. They're using their minds to think about what's going on in their hearts, aren't they? And the next thing you know, you build an entire personality in your mind. I'm the person who thinks this way. I'm the person who believes this. I'm the person who does this. And you run around with these little feelings in your heart, and you put your mind up there, and you're looking, and you make all kinds of decisions about your lifestyles, your patterns, your this, your that, everything, all your disciplines or non-disciplines, eating, dressing, everything, based on this behavior generation of these energies. Where is the consciousness? How often are you there knowing that you're there? Never. It's a rare experience to go, oh, here I am. You could drive your entire car from here back to town and not know you did. You not know a single turn that you took, not know what it felt like to touch the steering wheel, not know how your feet went from one place to another, not know what cars you passed, not know what lights you stopped at, nothing. It's just all going on autopilot. Where's the consciousness? Lost in the objects of consciousness. You can get on a train of thoughts, and the next thing you know, an hour went by. And it just went from here, well, maybe I should, well, no, I could go over there. Oh, that would be far. Then I go, oh, no, that won't be any good. And you're just going on this ride. Where? Consciousness is sucked into thoughts. Consciousness is sucked into emotions. And these two things combine together in the same vibration to really get you. And now everything is like that. And this is what it means to be lost in the Maya. Lost in illusion, delusion, and error. To be found is to know that you're in there and these thoughts are passing before your consciousness, no matter what they are. Happy, sad, good, bad, right, wrong, anything. They come and they go. And so do emotions. Thoughts come and go if you let them. If you keep a hold of them, they will stop in front of you and say, they like me here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And they'll dance for a little while and put on a whole show for you. And they'll stay there. And then when you wake up in the morning, bam, they'll come right back one day, son of a gun, come right back in. Hi, good morning, I'm back again. All right, and then they'll bother you all day. You did it. If you would just leave them alone and not feed them and not give them attention, because they're like vampires. They live off your consciousness. You put your consciousness onto the thought, and it sucks the energy, the Shakti, out of your consciousness and builds the thought. It all comes from the self. All the energy is coming from the self. It just gets lost in the lower channels. And the emotions are the same way. If you have some little emotion, you feel a little insecurity, you feel a little fear, you feel a little lonely, you feel it, you be aware, loneliness. There it is, loneliness. Just loneliness. See what loneliness feels like? Check it out. And you will see, I guarantee you, I'll give you one absolutely guaranteed quality of loneliness. It comes and goes. I'll give you one guaranteed quality of anger. It comes and goes. Energy does not sit still. It comes up, and if you will keep your hands off of it, it will pass through. If somebody comes up and says something, you feel all this anger coming up inside of you, and you go, anger. I am experiencing anger. Haven't felt anger for a while. Whoa, this is a lot of anger. Haven't felt this much anger for a long time. You don't have to rap it out, but it's okay if you do. That's just at least channeling the consciousness away from the anger into some thoughts. But ultimately, aren't you aware that anger is going on inside of you? Why not just be aware that you're aware? What you're doing when you're aware that you're aware is you're keeping the Shakti, the energy, in the consciousness and not letting it get sucked into the object of consciousness, and that increases the speed at which it will leave. And so you feel this anger going on inside of you, right? All that's going on. You breathe, you relax a little, and the next thing you know, something else catches your attention, you don't feel anger anymore. It passes. It's phenomenal. And then you realize that before you would have got there into it. You would have said, who did this? Who did this? Who made me feel like this? I shouldn't feel like this. Something's wrong. I should move. I should change relationships. Somebody should at least change my clothes. There's something wrong. Every time something's not the way you want it inside, you got to change something, don't you? That mind will just give you a rap. You got to blame and change. Why? Because you don't want it going on inside of you. Because you got sucked into it and it's a disturbance. Now it went the whole day. Now you went and said something to somebody because of your anger, and you change your behavior pattern. Now it can't go away. You've invested in it. You know how you all invest in the bank and you get interest, right? Just invest in your anger. It pays back great dividends. It stays longer. It keeps coming back in the morning. Now it'll come back in the morning and think, well, I don't want to see that guy because I was angry yesterday and I said something to him and now I can't see him. And pretty soon you can't see anybody and you got to stay in your house. And it gets really weird. All because you didn't let it pass. All because you left your seat of consciousness and you actually permitted these yicky, passing feelings and thoughts, which are just passing feelings and thoughts, affect your behavior. And this is what people do. And then they end up with behavior patterns which match their feelings and thoughts. Which ones? Obviously the ones they didn't let go of. If they let go of them, it wouldn't be affecting anything. And they became this. And then their world became that. And they actually hung out with this person and didn't hang out with that person and did this on this night and didn't do this on this night and made this phone call and didn't make that phone call and went to work this day and missed work that day and just got into habit patterns that matched what was going on inside of them. Do you think that helps let go of this stuff? Absolutely not. It completely reinforces your staying stuck in these particular feelings and these particular thoughts. We call it getting caught. What does not getting caught mean? It means you sit in the self and you watch the parade. You know what I mean by the parade? Here comes anger, here comes fear, here comes love, here comes anxiety, here comes I hate it, I want to leave, here comes I love it, I'll never leave. They're just coming and going. They're never ending. Except you get to sit quietly and consciously in your seat of consciousness and watch these things pass. So that's a very important stage of your spiritual growth. What does it take to know that you're in there? 1/billionth of a second. How's that? You're in there. Otherwise you wouldn't know what's going on. Just every time you think, I don't know if I'm in here, just check out whether some voice inside your head said that to you. And how did you know that? It is not a matter of what are your thoughts. It's a matter of who hears your thoughts. It's not a matter of what are your feelings. It's a matter of who is experiencing these feelings. Your feelings are not spiritual, and your thoughts are not spiritual. They're thoughts. Feelings are not spiritual. They are feelings. The one who knows that the thought is happening, that's spiritual. Because that is spirit itself. That is the conscious energy, the awareness, which is aware. Awareness is a very holy thing. It's the knower. It's the seer, isn't it? So basically, it doesn't take any time to take the first step on the path, which is to be aware that you're aware that you're aware. The second step is to always be aware that you're aware that you're aware. Now that one can take some time. That one's a very, very interesting journey. How does one do that? All right? By practice. Practice makes perfect, like everything else. How do you practice awareness? We just gave a few examples. Every time you move your hand and pick up a cup or pick up a pen, stop your thoughts, your feelings. You don't have to stop them. Just pull back for 1 second. This one I want to be so fast that it's just a billionth of a second. You touch a glass, a spoon, a fork, a pen, a doorknob, anything that you do with this hand. Let this hand take you to God. You hear me? Every single time you tie your shoelaces, you touch a brush, start the car. Just this hand. I'm not asking much. Can you, every time you touch something with this hand, be aware that you are aware? Remember. All right? Key. You don't have to say it, but it's okay if you do. Bring your consciousness to bear on what's happening with this hand. That's called practicing being conscious, isn't it? All right? If you do that, 2 things will happen. 1, you will expand your consciousness. You will expand those moments of awareness when you're there. You will take your life back from habit and bring it to consciousness. 2nd, depression will leave, fear will leave, anxiety will leave, insecurity will leave, undecidedness will leave, all your problems will leave. Wait a minute. Maybe you have a magic hand, I don't. No. You got it wrong. You got a magic hand. And more important, you got magic consciousness. If every time you use this hand, you brought your consciousness to bear on what this hand was doing, I told you it has 2 effects. 1, it is an exercise of willful consciousness. Therefore, you become aware and you become a more aware being. 2, the habits of where you would have been if you were not doing that are being broken. At that moment that you bring your consciousness to your hand, your consciousness is not in your thoughts, is not in your emotions. So you are often taught by spiritual teachings or growth teachings that you have to control your emotions and purify your emotions, and you have to control your thoughts and purify your thoughts. This is not true. It is better to pull your consciousness away from a thought, then the thought will just pass. The energy will dissipate. It will pass through. Rather than fighting with the thought, because that gives it energy. You should never fight with your thoughts. Someday you'll catch on. You don't fight with thoughts. And you don't fight with emotions. You pull back. How? By seeing who knows this is going on. When you feel just absolute anger, don't sit there and say, I don't want to feel anger, and start stressing around with the anger. Don't do that. Because you're taking all the energy out of the self and giving it to the anger. Instead, if you start to feel the anger, don't panic yet. And now you start to feel the anger, just right away. Label it. Anger. That's what it is. How do you know? Just little things like this are encouraging you remaining in the witness. Remaining that you are in this center. That takes energy away from the anger. So every time you practice hand, every time you are pulling your Shakti away from where it would have been, which is your thoughts and your emotions, and bringing it into a solid, stable place called awareness, actual conscious awareness, bringing it to bear. And if you do this throughout the day, it will become habit. And if you combine it with walking through doors, that every time you walk through a door you remember, that you remember, that you remember, all right? You just start remembering, not with mind, with awareness. And you will find that you don't have any problems anymore. And it won't take that long. And then you become the wisest person that ever lived. You realize, wait a minute, I never had any problems. I thought I had problems. That is exactly right. Your thought is all your problems. There are no problems. Anything can happen on this little planet, anything, and it's none of your business. Somebody can be born, somebody can die. Somebody can go and give you material wealth, something can take away your material wealth. Somebody can come and honor you, and somebody can spit at you. What are these things? They are things that are happening on the planet Earth. And if you're not caught in your thoughts, but you're just experiencing the moment, you will find they're not a problem. They're not a problem. They are only a problem in your mind. They get caught in your mind, and then they keep coming back and bothering you. Spit at me, no one's going to spit at me. There's other people that used to honor me. I can't believe they're spitting at me. And your mind's doing this. Now you got a problem. Somebody honors you, you drive down the street and somebody spits at you. You're honored, you're spit at. Now where are you? Driving down the street. We're through being spit at, we're through being honored. Well, what's your mind doing? Well, it's driving the car. What's yours doing? I mean, it's going to the next place. It's getting on with it. But what about the spinning? That was back there. It's over. That lasted how long? That's 1/10 of a second. Why do you have to let that wedge within your mind and torment yourself with it? So, you go through your whole life living in the moment, living your life, experiencing your life, dealing consciously with what's happening before you. This act of pulling your consciousness back away from the thoughts will free you from your problems. It's that easy. You say, it can't be that easy. It is that easy. Everything's easy. We make it hard. Well, what about my emotions? I have all this pain in my heart all the time, all this pain in my heart. Why are you carrying this around? Let it go. If you have pain and problems in your heart, be aware that this is going on in your poor little heart. Come to grips with it. See this. I have a problem with my heart. Somebody else has a problem with their legs. Somebody else has a problem with their hearing. I have a problem with my heart. What's the difference? There's something wrong. Is that okay? It better be, because that's how it is right now. And so at least you have accepted deeply that your consciousness is transcendent to this problem in your heart. How do you know? Because I'm watching the problem in my heart. So by definition, I am transcendent to it. What am I to do about it? Let it go. But it won't go. Let that go. What do you mean, let that go? If I let it go and it doesn't go, then there's nothing to let go. Yes, there is. You who's in there struggling. You who's in there suffering because your heart is having a problem. If you can't understand it, which we have trouble with the heart, I should have gone to the ear first. This is an anatomy course. Let us say that somebody is having a problem hearing, and they can't hear well through their ear. Well, first you go and you get your ear examined. That's natural. Now, once you go to the ear doctor, and the ear doctor checks you out, and he says, you have a structural problem, and you're not going to be hearing well. Period. Just doesn't work like that. Okay? Now what do? You let it go. You let it go. When somebody's talking to you, you face a little bit this way. You know, maybe you try a hearing aid. You do something, but you accept it. You accept it. Notice now, letting it go didn't let me hear better. All right? But letting it go meant you were not resisting. It didn't ruin the rest of your life. You didn't get yourself into a state where all day you're fighting, well, I can't hear. Oh my God, I can't hear. What are they saying? What are they going? Just let it go. Let it go and you can't hear real well. But what if I can't hear something? Then you can't hear something. And you get to peace with it. Your heart is the same way. If you're having a problem with your heart, that's one problem. If you're having a problem with the problem of your heart, that's a worse problem. And if you go in there and spend your whole day futching around with this problem in your heart, worrying about it, blaming people, checking it out, looking at it, you're lost in it. Now you can't let it go. So let go at whatever level you can. When you sit there and say, but if I let go, it doesn't go away, that's just awareness. If you're letting go and it doesn't go away, then you're aware that it's happening, you're aware that it doesn't go away. There's nothing wrong with that. Over time it will pass if you let it. There's only one possible way that these things will not pass. If you keep them there. I already told you how you keep them there. By feeding them. By giving them energy. Otherwise they will pass. Stay calm. Stay centered. Stay aware. And practice all these techniques of awareness. Now even this can be difficult for people. It seems so simple. And I'm telling you, the more time you spend in the self, and the less time you spend feeding your personality traits, these habit-formed thoughts and feelings, the more that you will loosen up and this stuff will pass. But what if one has trouble even doing that? Then that's why yoga gave you techniques. Yoga was aware that you might have trouble even doing that. But don't you doubt for 1 minute that that's the only thing the masters are asking you to do, is to stay conscious, stay aware, stay centered while this is going on. Well, what is going on? Everything and anything, there is no reason to ever leave your center. It's just stuff that's going on. So if I have trouble staying in my center, meditate. Why? Because it is the act of practicing remaining centered. All right? If when too much is going on, you have trouble being centered and your heart's going crazy, your mind's going crazy, and the next thing you know, you're lost, and then you come back and you say, oh, what happened? All right? You need practice. So you sit down for fixed periods of time, every single day, without any exception, with no excuses. Nothing's worth ever missing one of your practice sessions. That's how people who want to play the piano, they do that. That's how people who want to go to medical school, they don't miss their things, they go to classes. Then why, if somebody wants to grow and remain centered and become aware, do they sit there and say, well, this is more important, or I don't want to do this, or I got a date tonight, and I got this? Why do they do that? I thought that their consciousness was more important than this noise that's going on. So basically the yogi sits there and says, okay, and puts the time aside, and does what? It doesn't matter. If you put the time aside, that's 90% of it right there, because you chose consciousness. Then if you will just sit there, I told everybody, there's no such thing as a bad meditation. There's no such thing. If you come to me and you say, my meditations are terrible. Really, what's happening? Well, I sit down, and the minute I sit down, my mind goes berserk. It's fighting with me constantly. No, you're not having a bad meditation, you're having a good meditation. Why? Look how you're talking to me. My mind, you didn't say me, my mind is fighting with me constantly. Whoa, that sounds like you're sitting in a center. So meditation can be nothing but the act of practicing awareness. And you will find if you do this, that you will go deep. That just the act of letting go, there will be times where you get sucked within and you have deep meditations. If you don't, it's fine. It's fine. Just be aware that you're aware. And you will find that over time, here's the moment in the morning, here's the moment in the evening, that the connecting lines, like connect the little dots, it starts to connect. And the next thing you know, you're always in meditation. The next thing you know, in the middle of the day, in the middle of confusion and action, you are more conscious than you used to be when you sat down to meditate. It may take years until eventually you're never not conscious. Till eventually that act of walking through that door or that act of bringing awareness to your hand is everywhere. There is never a moment when you're not there. Every thought, every single thought that passes through your mind all day is absolutely as clear as day, passing right before your mind, and you could go back and recount all the thoughts that pass through your mind. Every feeling that comes up as a response to every single thing that happens, you're totally aware, to the deepest level of what's going on inside your being. And every movement of your body and every sensation through your senses you've become a conscious being. You're not getting lost in the objects of consciousness. You are sitting in the center of consciousness. And you will find that from that center, which you have now earned through meditation, through mantra, that's getting the mind to remind you. It used to be the enemy, now it becomes the friend. You start getting lost, all of a sudden you hear God, 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 Gurung, 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 going on in there, and it brings your consciousness right back to that repetition in the mind. And you can't get lost ever again. Mantra is very, very powerful. And all of these techniques are methods of centering. They're methods of bringing the consciousness out of the object of consciousness back to the awareness itself. So this struggle stage, where you utilize these tools and so on, is very, very important. Yogananda taught that will was your greatest friend during these stages of your spiritual growth. You just do your sadhana. You do these practices, and you do them in a fixed way, and eventually you will find that the more energy you pull out of your personal self. What is the personal self? What the mind would be doing and what the emotions would be doing and what the body would be doing if you were not in there centering. And I don't think we want to discuss that, do we? It makes a mess. That's what you'll find. If you just let all those energies go where they want to go, they don't take you where you want to go. Whereas if you pull the energies back up into the center, your whole life changes. And it will take time until eventually all energies come back to the center. You don't lose your seat. Now I'm going to close off, because I said it's in stages. What happens when you attain that seat? Is it all over? Of course not. Now you've made it to the launching pad, but you haven't launched. You've literally made it to the launching pad. You used to be scattered off all over the place. It is from this center that your true spiritual evolution, what we call the ascent, will take place. Once all the energies are pulled back and are no longer scattered throughout your inner and outer universe, but have become one-pointed, fixed in the witness. That's where it belongs. So Ramana Maharshi taught, all you have to do all day is, who am I? Who am I? Who sees when I see? Who hears when I hear? Just one-pointed focus on the self. Yogananda taught, focus all your attention to the point between your eyebrows. That is the seat of the self. If you put your Shakti, your energy, your consciousness at this point, this state of constant awareness, all right, will come to you very, very quickly. Once you are in this seat, on the launch pad, you will notice two things. Always there's two, just yin-yang. One is that everything below you is holding you down, including you. Your whole thoughts of yourself, all your needs, all your desires, all your hopes, all your dreams, all your philosophies, all your beliefs are below you. They're in your mind. They're in your heart. And you can't fight with them, because coming down to fight with them is coming down to fight with them. All you can do is let go. You can let go. And you will find that if you let go, by opening and opening, they will come and go until it's just a motion picture show, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're feeling fear or you're feeling strength. Don't sit there and try to always feel strength. It doesn't matter if you feel insecurity or if you feel loved. Don't sit there and try to always feel love and never feel insecurity. Because to do so, you're fighting with the polar opposites. Both of them exist in the universe. And if you come out of your seat of consciousness to try to fight with this one and cling with this one, you left your seat, plus you gave your energy to them. Who gets the energy? Lower self or higher self? So if you sit there and say, I can't tell which part of me is my lower self, everything you're looking down at is lower. If you're looking at it, it's lower. If it's you who's looking, that's what's meant by higher. And it literally has that relationship. So don't go down in there like a rummage sale, picking through your lower self. Try to find out where the higher self is and where the lower self is. People come to me, they get themselves so confused, it's unbelievable. If it has to talk to you through the voice of your mind, you don't need to listen. If it's welling up out of your heart and you're aware that it's welling up out of your heart, just let it pass, because it ain't who you are. Period. And this is how you transcend the opposites. The self is the only thing that is transcendent to the opposites. Everything else is in this world of opposites, of duality, of polarity. It's not hard to understand. It's not easy to do, but it's not hard to understand. So what you do is once you attain your seat of awareness, whether it be for 5 minutes or 1 second or all day, every day, let go. That's what you do from the seat of witness. You don't sit there and get the seat of witness and then go down there and make it all right. Now I see, I'll straighten it all out. Don't. Let go. And what will happen is little by little, the ice will start to thaw. And things that used to get stuck and be heavy will become lighter. And they will pass. I'm telling you, eventually you will see it all passes. And that there's nothing for you to do. You sit in there. You do your mantra. You breathe. You remain centered, conscious. No matter what is going on, nothing. You remain quiet. Let come up what must come up. Let pass through what must pass through. And you will see that all of it is perfect, and all of it is doing what it must do in accordance to the nature of things. And if you come and fight with the nature of things, you touch it, you own it. Now you have to stay down there fighting. But if you remain quiet and centered, it will all pass. So that's one thing that you see from the seat, is that everything below you is holding you down, and that all you have to do is let it go, let it be. Notice people think let it go means make it go away. It does not mean that. Let it go means you're not down there fighting with it. You're just being aware, neither going with it nor against it. Then the other thing you will see when you look is, aside from everything below you is holding you down, is that everything above you is pulling you up. And you just start to turn your eyes up and back constantly. And every time you do that, you feel the power pull back behind you, and you get deeper and deeper. You let go of what's below, and you merge into, you don't cling to, you don't grab, you don't run for. You let go, and as you let go, you will drift up like a helium balloon. And it's a constant process of releasing the anchor and merging gently, steadily into what is unknown behind you. You will never know it. You can only go into it, because the attempt to know it is lower self-thinking and trying to grab and cling. So don't do it. Just practice, get your seat. Now you know where it is. There's nothing to think about. Get your seat and then let go. And you will find that your journey is like a takeoff of a rocket ship, and that every single day you have the opportunity to grow tremendously. And there are no exceptions. Anything that happens to you is an opportunity for growth. So if you use it this way, you'll grow tremendously. Jagrata.